Tracy Dennis-Tiwary, Future Tense, Why Anxiety is Good for You, Even Though It Feels Bad. In the book, Future Tense, Why Anxiety is Good for You, Even Though It Feels Bad, author Tracy Dennis-Tiwary takes a deep dive into the realm of anxiety, shedding light on its complexities, manifestations, and various coping mechanisms. The summary unravels the intricate nature of anxiety, the journey from normal anxiety to anxiety disorders, and the evolutionary purpose behind anxiety. Additionally, it explores the difference between fear and anxiety, the usefulness or lack thereof of avoidant behaviors, and the role of anxiety in personal growth. Presented in a user-friendly language, the book summary aims to demystify complex concepts related to anxiety and offer an engaging read to help individuals navigate through their own anxieties.
Taming the Anxiety Beast. Anxiety impacts us all, manifesting through physical sensations and uneasy thoughts. However, it's not the anxiety itself that's the issue, but rather our unhealthy ways of dealing with it that can lead to debilitating anxiety disorders. While millions of people are affected by these disorders, very few overcome them through therapy. To address this, we must adopt healthier coping mechanisms for managing anxiety. We all know what anxiety feels like, from butterflies in our stomach and a pounding heartbeat to a tight throat and recurring thoughts. It's an all too familiar bodily sensation accompanied by a barrage of unsettling thoughts like apprehension, dread, and worry. Anxiety often arises from the anticipation of negative events that haven't occurred yet. Though it varies in intensity, we usually have the ability to talk ourselves through anxiety, until we reach a point of comfort and control. However, when we start to rely on unhealthy thoughts and behaviors to manage or avoid our anxiety, the problem eventually worsens. Consequently, normal anxiety can morph into an anxiety disorder. Anxiety disorders are characterized by functional impairment, which obstructs our ability to lead a normal life. Prolonged distress can derail our daily lives, from home and work to personal relationships. Alarmingly, nearly 20% of adults in the U.S. are affected by anxiety disorders each year, and 31% will face one in their lifetime. Despite these staggering numbers, less than half of those treated show long-lasting improvements. This lack of progress is often linked to our poor coping strategies. Take, for example, a teenager named Kabir, who became afraid to speak in class. Before giving presentations, he'd avoid eating, lose sleep, and worry incessantly. As his fear grew, he started to dread school and eventually avoided social situations altogether. This resulted in his grades dropping, friendships fading, and the onset of severe panic attacks. Kabir's journey led him to develop social anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder, and panic disorder. However, his anxiety wasn't the real issue, it was how he chose to cope. By evading his anxiety through unhealthy habits, he only made it worse. To amend this cycle, we must explore healthier ways of dealing with our anxiety. In subsequent chapters, we'll delve into more effective coping mechanisms that will empower us to manage anxiety proactively and improve our overall well-being. Embrace anxiety, enhance performance. The Trier Social Stress Test, TSST, is a method for evaluating the impact of social anxiety on individuals. However, a Harvard study revealed that when participants were taught to view their anxiety as a sign of preparedness and read about the benefits of anxiety, they felt less anxious and more confident during the test. By altering our beliefs about anxiety, we can shift our physiological reactions and understand that anxiety can serve as a helpful tool in overcoming challenges. If you've ever been told to prepare and present a short speech in front of a panel of judges, while being videotaped and compared to others, you can relate to the Trier Social Stress Test, TSST. This test, designed to induce stress, is particularly challenging for people with social anxiety. In addition to the speech, participants are asked to perform a complex math problem out loud, with judges urging them to go faster and start over when a mistake is made. In 2013, researchers at Harvard University decided to investigate the impact of anticipating anxiety and understanding its benefits before participating in the TSST. Participants were informed that their reactions were actually signs of being energized and ready to face challenges. This response, they were told, evolved to help our ancestors survive by delivering blood and oxygen throughout the body. They also read several scientific studies highlighting the positive aspects of anxiety. The result? Those who learned about the constructive nature of anxiety before taking the TSST reported feeling less anxious and more assured. Their physiological responses also changed significantly, relaxed blood vessels and healthier, steadier heart rates were observed. The participants believed that their anxiety was supportive, rather than damaging, which led to observable changes in their bodies. This groundbreaking study underscores the importance of shifting our perceptions about anxiety. By being more open and curious about this emotion, we can recognize its benefits and minimize its harmful effects. Doing so doesn't require embracing or loving anxiety, but rather questioning preconceived notions about its impact on our lives. Understanding that anxiety can actually help you perform at your best will empower you to harness its potential and use it to your advantage. When faced with a daunting challenge, instead of being weighed down by nervousness, your anxiety can support you by allowing your body to respond in a healthy and adaptive manner. By changing your beliefs about anxiety, you can transform it into a resource that helps you excel in difficult tasks. Taming your anxiety. Anxiety, though often confused with fear, is different in that it is associated with imagined future threats. It can be helpful when providing actionable information but can become overwhelming when it presents itself as a helpless feeling. To overcome paralyzing anxiety, the key is to immerse oneself in the present moment and break free from the vicious cycle to regain control of our thoughts and actions. Anxiety and fear may seem alike, but distinct differences lie beneath the surface. For instance, you may have once felt startled by a surprise encounter with a furry creature in your attic. This immediate response is fear, a reflex driven by an actual danger. Once the situation is resolved, you calm down, and the fear subsides. However, anxiety lingers and makes you feel apprehensive about uncertain, imagined dangers, like reaching into boxes in the attic fearing another similar experience. It's the unsettling state of anticipating something bad to happen, which can make it difficult to bear. Anxiety can be helpful when it offers information that influences your actions in the present or near future. Recognizing the difference between useful and paralyzing anxiety is crucial. For example, anxiety-driven thoughts about a personal issue, an upcoming work presentation or home repairs can serve as a signal, nudging you to plan and act accordingly. This form of anxiety is beneficial. On the other hand, anxiety can also make you feel overwhelmed and helpless, like awaiting results for a medical test. Trapped in this powerless state, the anxiety morphs into a destructive force with no immediate solution. When confronted with overwhelming anxiety, the best option is to set it aside, not to suppress it, but rather to temporarily take a break, intending to revisit it later. More often than not, you might find that it has subsided or become more manageable. Research indicates that immersing oneself in the present moment is the most effective way to loosen anxiety's grip. For instance, taking a walk in nature and focusing your full attention on your surroundings can provide the space needed to break the anxiety cycle. Notice the intricate patterns on tree barks, the sunlight filtering through branches, and the delicate veins of leaves. You might even listen to music to engage your mind in the present fully. Taking this time away from anxiety enables you to return with a refreshed perspective, better equipped to analyze and determine its usefulness. As a result, you're more likely to either find a purpose for the anxiety or reduce its impact on your well-being. Taming anxiety is about understanding its nature, differentiating between beneficial and detrimental forms, and learning how to navigate it. By immersing yourself in the present moment, you can break free from anxiety's grasp and regain control, making it an empowering, manageable aspect of your life. Don't snowplow your child's life. Trigger warnings have become a contentious topic, particularly in academic settings. Some argue that they provide a buffer and mental preparation, while others claim they prevent engaging with challenging ideas. Evidence tilts towards the latter, as trigger warnings tend to increase anxiety, especially among those who view words as potentially harmful. This shielding from discomfort can hinder emotional resilience and mirrors the overprotective, snowplow parenting trend. Instead, children should be allowed to face challenges and uncertainties, as overcoming them promotes growth and adaptability, much like the human immune system. While trigger warnings are intended to alert individuals to distressing content, recent studies suggest they might be doing more harm than good. In a 2018 experiment, participants read literary passages containing potentially unsettling material. Some received trigger warnings, while others did not. Those given trigger warnings experienced increased anxiety, particularly among those believing that words could cause harm. This indicates that, contrary to their purpose, trigger warnings may hinder emotional resilience and cause unnecessary distress. This phenomenon reflects a rising trend, attempting to shield children from any discomfort or adversity they might encounter. Although parental protection instincts are natural, avoiding pain and discomfort stifles growth. In fact, many parents try to eliminate their children's anxiety simply because it makes them uneasy. For individuals to flourish, they need exposure to challenges, uncertainties, pain, and disorder. The human immune system provides an apt analogy: it learns to respond to germs and pathogens through exposure. Similarly, people cannot develop the creativity, effort, and resilience to handle difficult situations if they never confront them. The urge to eliminate all obstacles from children's paths has led to snowplow parenting, where parents accommodate the anxieties of their offspring to their own detriment. For instance, if a child fears flying, their parents may opt for a road trip. Or if a child becomes anxious when separated from their parents, they might let that child skip school. While these coping mechanisms might alleviate parental discomfort, they hinder the children's growth. Instead of trying to dispel your child's anxiety, teach them to manage it. Embrace their anxiety while supporting them through it. If your daughter does not want to go to school due to separation anxiety, assure her that she can handle it and she will be all right. Send her to school regardless. If your son is fearful of unknown guests, invite trusted friends and family over for short visits before gradually extending the duration. Encourage your child to interact with the guests to become more comfortable with the situation. Ultimately, remember, your children are much more resilient than you might think. Channeling anxiety for purpose. Anxiety, although often associated with obsessive-compulsive disorders, has a purposeful side. It is linked to the brain's circuitry responsible for seeking rewards and feeling pleasure. By tapping into this understanding of anxiety, you can use it to uncover and work towards your purpose in life. A useful technique called self-affirmation can help identify the values and priorities most meaningful to you. Channel your anxiety towards pursuing these identified purposes, and transform it into a form of courage and momentum. As you take purposeful, meaningful action, anxiety will naturally dissipate, guiding you in the right direction. Anxiety doesn't only drive obsessive-compulsive behaviors, it is intimately connected to the reward-seeking and pleasure-experiencing circuitry in our brain. Anxiety, then, can be a signpost pointing towards satisfaction, delight, and ultimately, your purpose in life. For instance, let's consider the author's experience. Her anxiety led her to build a successful research lab by stimulating curiosity, organization, and tireless effort on her projects. You can similarly channel your anxiety into finding and pursuing your purpose. This doesn't need to be an overwhelming passion or grand vision of the future, but rather, priorities and values that genuinely matter to you. To discover these core values and priorities, try self-affirmation. Begin by examining a list of 11 domains: artistic skills and aesthetic appreciation, sense of humor, relationships with friends and family, spontaneity, social skills, athletics, musical ability and appreciation, physical attractiveness, creativity, business and managerial skills, and romantic values. Identify and write about the top 3 domains that define you and bring you a sense of fulfillment. Continue writing until you exhaust your thoughts, and then, reflect on what you hold dear and why. Developed by Stanford University researchers, self-affirmation has been shown to not only lift moods and enhance concentration but also improve relationships and even bolster physical health. These benefits can persist for months or even years. Once you've recognized your purpose using self-affirmation, channel your anxiety towards pursuing it. In this context, anxiety evolves into a form of courage, supplying the drive and momentum required to unleash your inner strength. As you engage in purposeful, meaningful action, your anxiety will naturally dissipate. Ultimately, think of anxiety as a helpful companion, guiding you in the right direction. Though it won't stay with you every step of the way, it can undoubtedly support you in forging your own rewarding path.
As the book summary of Future Tense, Why Anxiety is Good for You, Even Though It Feels Bad, comes to a close, the key takeaways emphasize the importance of recognizing the evolutionary benefits of anxiety and its role in enhancing our personal growth. The summary emphasizes the need to differentiate between fear and anxiety, and to distinguish useful anxiety from useless anxiety. Understanding this distinction helps individuals develop healthier coping mechanisms and achieve meaningful outcomes in their lives. Furthermore, the summary cautions against avoidant behaviors that may seem like solutions but only serve to intensify anxiety. By embracing anxiety as a purposeful signal and an opportunity for growth, individuals can harness its power in a positive direction and ultimately improve their overall emotional resilience and well-being.